Hello again, welcome back to Asgard, and welcome back to Celestial Journey. So today we kind of have probably what's going to be a shorter episode. Sort of a build-related episode, sort of just an update, because I know it's been like a week since the last Celestial Journey video, and I wanted to update you guys on the progress. Because I've been doing a bit of building, getting us set up for our next. I don't have any places right now available for much in the way of progress, and so I've been expanding out for some of our upcoming areas that we're going to be working in. And also doing a lot of cleanup work. You can see that the cavern section here, I've been working on this. I still have to add all the little bits of detail like moss and things like that, hanging down stalactites. We have an area that's large enough here for some very large stalactites, so I'm very excited about putting those in. Been working on this. Of course, I did have, my birthday was this past weekend, so I had that and a few days of being very busy, and then before that I had a couple days where I just kind of had builder's block. I get that ever so often, so I just take a step back and do something else while I'm waiting for that to pass. In this case, I played a bit of Overwatch for the anniversary event that was going on. And then I took some time to do a bit of planning as to how we're going to push forward with the build. Of course, this area, I've still got to finish working on this. I've been opening all of this up and bringing the cavern section up. So I'm going to continue the cavern section up along here, hopefully all the way to the portal, and get this entrance area cleaned up, as well as probably the rail system. We'll probably do a bit of that on camera though, and continue this rail system and bring it out along in this direction. So we'll probably do that on camera, and then of course the build leads into the night market, kind of our market district area, which then crosses this ravine, which we've had opened up for, sort of opened up. I did end up bringing it out a little bit further. This is where we had dropped down before, but of course I mentioned a few episodes back that we were going to push this forward, so that we had room to kind of walk around this section up these stairs. So I have brought this out. This is kind of where the chasm is going to run through here. And now you can actually see what's going to be the bridge over to the prison from here. And you can see right here is the entrance to the prison. And this is actually going to get built up and shaped up. So we kind of have this tower sort of segment that rises up here. And kind of sticks up, and then this area here, I've kind of dug this down. It's going to go down a little bit lower, and the city, because of course we're underneath the ocean where we're at right now. Like if I pull this up and I go into day, you can see I'm standing right here, and so a lot of this is going to be underneath the ocean in this segment where the actual city sits. So we're going to be building this a little bit lower, so it's actually going to drop down about 4 or 5 blocks here where you step down. And where most builds, I think most builds, your city kind of rises and your bigger structures are kind of in a higher district. Our bigger structures are actually going to be in a lower district, so it's going to be kind of reversed to, I think, the way that normal large-scale city builds go. So I think it's going to be a bit of fun in that regard. Because when you step out onto here, you're going to be able to look down and see the buildings kind of spreading out beneath you instead of rising up above you. I also dug out up here where this little staircase we built at before. This kind of comes out. This is going to get opened up a lot more, but overlooks here. We're going to do some platforms work over in this area and kind of have some platforms that kind of stick out. Kind of like I imagine, like, I don't know, like goblin caves have, like where it's kind of this, kind of what we have over here, where we kind of have all this like rickety looking wood that kind of runs through this area. We're going to have a bit of that over there as well, over in this section, kind of hanging out, because this is all going to be, a big cliff face almost. And so we're going to have that. And this is going to go out a bit further off in this direction. It's not going to end where the bridge is at. Started bringing this around. That's actually the last thing I was working on. And then I've got to shape up this top section here and bring this forward. The prison let's see, the tower's going to rise up right in here. It's not going to be a super tall tower, but it's going to kind of rise up there, and then we're going to shape up the exterior of the prison from here, which is going to be interesting. As we start uncovering all of this, it's not going to be fully uncovered, but parts of it are going to be uncovered, and we're going to kind of have it shaped up. And we're going to have an access area where you can walk up to what's going to be the Well of Souls above the prison. So we're going to be starting on that. That's actually what I've been trying to work towards because it's the next bit of automation. That and our cake bakery is going to be our next two things I think that we work on, because I want to get wheel automation done because it's so key to so much of our automation. Like, we've got Corporea in a pretty good spot, and I've added a couple smaller Corporea crafting setups so that we have more things that we can order and whatnot. Flight has helped a ton. As you can tell, I'm running the Angel Ring right now because I've just been building. But Flight has helped a ton. Looks like a Cyclops is hanging out in here. A couple Cyclopses. 3 Cyclopses. 4 Cyclopses. There's so many of them in there all of a sudden. But anyways, so I want to get this area kind of started building out what's going to be the top part of the prison where our Well of Souls is. I want to get that started so we can do our wheel automation, but I also want to get our cake bakery automation up and going. We're going to have a building dedicated to making cakes, right? So it's basically eggs, milk, flour, and sugar that are going to be produced within that building, and they're going to be crafting cakes. Now, I was debating about going ahead and pushing into Thaumcraft golems for that whole process. I might do that, and if we do, then I need to get an area built out for our initial Thaumcraft push. We're definitely at a point where we could easily push Thaumcraft, so maybe. I also want to... Cake automation is going to lead into what's going to be what basically runs the prison in terms of our Britannia spawners down here. Because I want to get started on Britannia spawners so that we have witches running 24/7. We have blazes running 24/7. You know, we have those things running because long term it's not intended that they run off of the Mine Factory Reloaded spawners or Industrial Foregoing spawners. So I want to start pushing in towards that, and so this is a lot of what's taking so long is because I need to get areas pushed out and built out so that we can actually start that stuff proper instead of having to set it all up in temporary locations. So I have been working on that. Cakey Morris, of course, will be I think our next automation, and we're going to be doing, the cake baker is going to be building or creating cakes for the Cakey Morris system, which powers our prison, I believe. I believe is what I'm going to do. Of course, it would be miles easier just to go with Intrapiniums, but that's boring. Cakey Morris will be a little bit more fun for us to do that. And that'll get our prison running all the time, which means we'll have endless amounts of redstone, glowstone, you know, basically everything that we need to push blood magic, because we'll have all that stuff running to make our simple stimulants. I can run them at the moment, it's not a problem, but then I have to run witches, which require power, which I don't have power moving over here, which I need to get power coming through, but power is going to be created, I think, on site with the Cakey Morris system, so it's a whole big process to get that up and going, right? But we might go ahead and push into Thaumcraft. I might go ahead and push for that just so we get golems, which would be nice. There's not golems, and actually we could start... Honestly, if we push Thaumcraft, there's nothing really standing in our way from getting, well, we have to start the base witchery stuff, which isn't too bad. But there's not too much standing in our way for getting draconic cores at that point. Because we need the fluorite stones. We are going to have to get, like I said, in base bewitchment. I say witchery, but base bewitchment for that. But that's actually not too bad. This is more or less farming. And this we're going to have to push into Divine RPG, but if I recall, that's fairly early golems. So before too long, after we start into Thaumcraft, we'll push on into the base bewitchment so that we can start doing our draconic spawners. But I'm more interested And it's more important that we get our Botania spawners up and going at this point. Because the majority of our really key spawning systems are doable through Botania. Skeletons and zombies and blazes and witches and all that fun stuff. So, let's see. So that's kind of, actually we're going to add a few things to this today. We are going to add in the cake bakery. We still need to do the plastic automation. I haven't gotten, it's just one of those things that's not high priority because it's so easy just to throw a couple pieces of wood down and make a bunch of plastic, you know, that I just haven't gotten around to it. We're going to be doing that soon also. I just have to build out the room more than what it is at the moment. So we're going to add in cake bakery. I think I already have wheel automation in here. I also need to add in start Thaumcraft to get golems. But I was thinking a golem cake bakery. I'd seen a golem cake bakery in the past built, and it was beautiful to watch it run. And I'm just thinking we should do a golem cake bakery because it would be a little bit more interesting than some of the alternatives. Botania is great for automating cakes, like milking and things like that, but I do think golems would be a bit of fun for that. Just seeing them kind of run around and work would be kind of nice. Plus, I just want golems for a lot of other things. That's the last big piece of our automation that we're missing, because for automation, we needed Botania, we needed nodes from Blood Magic, and we need Thaumcraft golems, because that's a lot of our logistics is Thaumcraft golems. Also, I have been doing a bit of work. If we pop down here, I've started doing a bit of work down here. Still have a bit to go, but I've started kind of opening up what's going to be the library area. So you can see we kind of have these like high ceilings, and we step down to here. Of course, this is actually the lowest bit of ceiling because, of course, we have rooms directly above us that we have to work around. As you can see right here, this is the little machine building right there. So kind of working around that. We're going to have to actually look at this base in spectator mode at some point because, you know, we did that back on Enigmatica 2, the first go around with Enigmatica 2, and it was very interesting just to see how all the buildings or all the rooms of the build were kind of laid together so that they all fit without overlap, but it was all like tightly squeezed into areas. And this build is especially so because actually right over here is the farm, which I'm hoping to get onto in the next day or two. Hopefully. This stuff actually takes a while because of the mass scale of this build. So that's why I've kind of put off progression for a little bit, because I just need to get building done at this point because I have so many areas that need to be touched up and whatnot. I need to get the smith done and stuff. Oh, it's a very, very large scale build, to say the least. But anyways, down here, we step into this area, which is our mana enchanting, which, truth be told, this is where the majority of our library use is going to be, right? But we're going to make it a lot bigger for the sake of making it bigger. It's going to be a grand library. I think that is befitting of being the large library of Carcosa and not just being a small library. You know, we did a very large library build on Divine Journey back in the day, but I'm thinking something larger and just better looking. That was just basically a big ramp that led up, more or less, with bookshelves. But I'm thinking something larger, and I love the crag rock and the juniper planks for just the overall look of just kind of this really aged library. So, opened up this area a bit. I was originally thinking about getting a builder, but the thing is, a builder's just so... I don't know. I think a builder would speed up certain parts, but when you have Vein Miner, pushing for a builder just kind of feels like taking a sledgehammer to hammer down a nail, right? It's just too much. Because I can take this and I can just clear out a whole big area, which is Vein Miner, and it's a bit more controlled, and I can work bit by bit because I've been kind of just vein mining out segments of this, and then I'll come back through with the between stone, shape it all up, and then move on to the next segment. And I don't end up with a ton of like empty space. I mean, this is pretty much all, underneath this is going to be stone, and I kind of like working with it that way, I think. This is what I've been working on. Like I said, it's more of kind of just an update video and build talk video as to what's going on and what the way that we're progressing and what's taking so long with the next episode, because it has been a little bit since the last episode. We were doing bosses and stuff in the last episode. I also want to... Hey there, little fella. I also want to build out this segment a bit, hopefully. But we'll see. We'll see. I definitely want to get the ceiling done all the way back up to here so that I can shape up the entrance. And I also want to open up this area and shape up this little building here. It's going to be more of like kind of like a hut that sits here. Build out the river and some of that stuff along through there, and make it so that you can actually take a boat down it if you so desire, and then build out this segment. A lot of popping around, but more than anything, I'm just trying to get the structure built out through here, right? Because this all has to be just kind of pushed, and this chasm has to be built, which has been it's been an interesting undertaking. Originally, I'm really bad about trying to keep things smooth, but I finally gave up, and I've just been making this all rigid. But it's kind of cool down here, just as a time example, because of course, that's just cobwebs. But these crystals from Thaumcraft, of course, they grow over time and expand. Normally they start out as like 2 or 3. Just as an example, this actually was a lot more full, but when I came through here vein mining, I broke off a lot of water crystal. But I do now have an absolute ton of water crystal, so whenever we start into Thaumcraft, we will have that. But back in here, you can see this has become, I guess, kind of my private little crystal growth area. So whenever we start Thaumcraft, I will probably leave these, ideally, because of course they boost your, not Essentia, but your V-types in a chunk. They will boost the regeneration rate, I think it is, and the maximum. But anyways, I've got this whole big... I mean, I've pretty much got every type of crystal. We've got water, we've got earth, we've got entropy, fire, ordo, air. I mean, I've got all of them down here. Just luck, I guess, that they all spawn down through here like this. But you could see, I mean, it's like wall-to-wall crystals, and they're still expanding. This one, not as much, but I think this is far enough back that it probably wasn't loaded the whole time that I was working on the market. So, if I had to guess. Yeah, because it's pretty far back. And most of our time is being actually over in here. But I will say that this, when you can stand here and look and see all of this, like once all this stone is gone, it's really starting to kind of take shape, which I'm quite enjoying. I'm quite enjoying a lot. This all still needs to be opened up a bit more. I'm going to start that and kind of shaping this up, because it's actually going to come up at a pretty sharp angle and then round back out to finish out. And this is actually going to be, of course, opened up and whatnot. So I will say there's a couple places outside that you will be able to see the base poking through. I may come back through long term and cover this up with some dirt or something if we end up using this exterior a lot, but you can see the cavern sections kind of poking through there. Also, over here, you can see this was originally walled up with cobblestone just to keep mobs from dropping down, but now it's getting to a point where if mobs drop down, they die, so it's not too big of a deal. But yeah, it's been a lot of building work, but I kind of wanted to update you guys as to where we were on things, let you know I haven't stopped playing Celestial Journey. It's just I've been building a lot, and it's not terribly exciting stuff probably to do a video on, because I'm literally just breaking stone and replacing it. and shaping it so that we kind of have this caverny bit that runs up through here. So, but yeah, I think that's the main things I wanted to cover. Like I said, it's probably a shorter video today, but I'm just building away. But the next, like I said, the next episode that will be progression related. There might be a build episode here or there, but the next progression video may be later this week, but more likely early next week if I had to guess. But that's either going to be starting the wheel automation or cake bakery. I think probably one of those two, or just pushing into Thaumcraft, so that we can start getting golems, which will be kind of basic Thaumcraft. Thaumcraft's going to be fairly easy for us. It's not a hard mod at all, really. It's honestly quicker and easier than it was in 1.7, in all honesty. 1.7, which I do kind of miss. Probably the only thing that I miss from 1.7 Thaumcraft is the V nodes and growing those. You know, we growed those in Divine Journey and had a nice little Thaumcraft area. That stuff, of course, no longer exists, but Thaumcraft's more of just like a quick bump in the road more than anything at this point. We are going to make a big Essentia system. And we're going to be doing so without Thaumic Energistics, which is going to be great. I hate Thaumic Energistics in a way. There was a time I had a lot more respect for AE2 and its add-ons, but these days I'm not big on them at all. So we'll be bypassing Thaumic Energistics for more interesting solutions, I think. Because, of course, we're not doing AE2, so why would we do Thaumic Energistics, right? So we'll be bypassing that and making a more interesting system. And hopefully a no-waste system. That's the goal. Because there's no point in wasting Essentia. Voiding it and things like that. Because there's other alternatives. We can make V crystals with it. And we can use it for chunk cleanup. And, different things like that. So we're going to be hopefully making a no-waste large-scale Essentia system to power all of our Essentia stuff. I don't know, it probably won't be before golems, because golems are really the priority, and we don't need a ton of infusion for golems. A little bit, I guess, but not too bad. Not too bad, but yeah, so anyways, that's going to be the next episode. Like I said, Thaumcraft, Cake Bakery, or wheel-related work. And after the Cake Bakery, we'll be automating Cake Emerises and then getting our spawners up and running. But it all just depends on if I decide we're going to go with a Golem Bakery or go with like a Botania-based bakery. Let me know down in the comments. Would you guys rather do a Thaumcraft Bakery or Botania-based? Botania-based is a lot of fun, but Thaumcraft is more visually appealing just because you have the golems running about and crafting and milking and doing different things like that. Whereas Botania is more like, here's flowers and, we just move the items around and crafty crate them. So, but yeah, so let me know down in the comments what you guys think, which you would prefer to see. And then I'll take a look at those and then we'll decide where we go from there. But yeah, so anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed it. I know it was a bit shorter, but it's more of an update video as to what all's going on. I'm going to continue building ceilings, I suppose. But I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, as always, be sure and hit that like button and go ahead and subscribe if you're not already to stay updated with when new videos come out. And I hope to see you guys next time. Also, I want to say a big thank you to all of you on the Discord for all the birthday wishes and everything and whatnot. So big thank you to all you guys. Love you all, and I'll see you soon.